Hello everyone, I am Harsha, consultant dermatologist at Cutis Hospital. Today I'll be talking about a very interesting topic, that is the treatment options in vitiligo. As we all know, vitiligo is a condition where the skin starts to lose its normal pigment and become white. It initially starts a light color patch, slowly progressing in size over time to become a well-defined white patch. Sometimes it can even involve the hairs over it. It can occur over any part of your body, but is most commonly seen over the lips, fingers, and face. Although the exact cause of vitiligo is not known, the current thinking is that it is an autoimmune process. That means your own immune system attacks your pigment producing cells, that is the melanocytes, leading to a white patch. So who can all get vitiligo? It affects both men and women equally. It is a very common condition. It has a prevalence of about 2% in the world population. It can affect equally from a common man to a celebrity. It has no regard for any ethnicity, race, or socioeconomic status. However, people with predisposing factors like family history of vitiligo or any associated comorbidities like diabetes, thyroid, which are autoimmune diseases, have a higher predispositions. This bit is important because not all white patches are vitiligo. Certain conditions like sunlight allergy, recurrent allergy to chemicals, fungal infections like pityriasis versicolor can also mimic vitiligo. Even certain aging spots and moles like nevus depigmentosus can also mimic white patches. So it is important to differentiate these conditions from vitiligo. When you are suspecting any white patch on your body, kindly consult your dermatologist so they can diagnose it and give you appropriate treatment. So now coming to the most important aspect, that is the treatment options in vitiligo. It depends on mainly two factors, that is the disease factors and the patient factors. In the disease factors, it depends on the type of vitiligo, that is whether it's segmental, focal, or generalized. The site of involvement, like whether it's involving the face, tip of fingers, or the whole body. The extent of involvement, like involving only a certain aspect of the body surface area or the whole body. And the stability of the disease, whether it's progressive, actively spreading, or non-progressive, and if they have done any previous treatments. The patient factors like the age of the patient, comorbidities also plays an important role. Additionally, if the patient has any events coming up like their wedding or any traveling obligations, also play an important role in their treatment. The treatment of vitiligo mainly involves two steps. Firstly, arresting the progression of the disease, and secondly, stimulating the melanocytes, that is the pigment producing cells. The treatment options in vitiligo can be broadly classified into medical options, phototherapy, surgical options, adjuvant therapies, and lifestyle modifications. Coming to the medical options, these are mainly given to suppress the immune cells. Orally, we have antioxidants like ginkgo biloba, Polypodium leucotomus, curcumin, vitamin B12, and folic acid. These are given usually when the disease is stable or minimally progressive. When the disease is actively spreading or unstable, we usually give orally medications like methotrexate, corticosteroids, azathioprine, which can help arrest the disease. All these medications have their own pros and cons and should always be taken under supervision from a dermatologist. The duration of these medications usually depends on the extent of the disease and how you respond to the treatment. Topically, we have creams like corticosteroid creams, tacrolimus or pimecrolimus creams, which can help suppress the immune cells at localized sites. Other creams like basic fibroblast growth factor, phenylalanine, prostaglandin analogs are also given, which can help stimulate the melanocytes. Now coming to phototherapy, also known as light therapy, it involves the use of UV radiation for therapeutic purposes. It is one of the oldest forms of treatment for vitiligo and remains a mainstay even today. It involves stabilization of the disease process as well as stimulating the residual melanocytes to produce pigment. It is a non-invasive and painless procedure. Commonly used forms of phototherapy is narrowband UV therapy. This requires the patient to stand inside a narrowband UV chamber till the set dose of narrowband UV light is delivered. It is very useful when there are extensive areas involved in the body. When there are isolated patches involved, you can opt for an excimer laser therapy. This involves the delivery of 308 nanometer laser light to the affected area. This has a targeted approach where it does not involve the surrounding uninvolved skin, and it is shown to produce faster repigmentation when compared to narrowband UV therapy. The only drawback with phototherapy is it involves the patient to visit the hospital frequently, that is about 2 to 3 times per week for about 2 to 6 months, based on the extent of involvement and the response. Nowadays, even NVUV lamps are available where the patient can avail this light therapy at their convenience at home. Now coming to the surgical options, this is chosen when the medical treatment is not effective or slow, or when the patient is seeking faster repigmentation. There are several surgical techniques available. The type of surgery depends on the stability of the lesion. It is very important that the disease is stable for a duration of at least 1 year before taking up for surgery, the size of the lesion, and where it is present. Surgical techniques usually involve the transfer of skin or skin cells from an uninvolved area to the affected patch. There are basically 3 types of surgeries done in vitiligo, that is tissue grafting, cellular grafting, and non-grafting techniques. In tissue grafting, the most commonly performed procedures are mini punch grafting. This is usually done for the patches over the hands and feet and the lips. Suction blister grafting. This is usually done for patches, small patches involving the face or the lips. In cellular grafting, the most commonly performed procedure is the non-cultured epidermal cell suspension, which involves the harvesting of melanocytes from a donor site and transplanting them into a prepared recipient site. This provides excellent color matching and uniform repigmentation when compared to other surgical techniques. This is usually done when there are large areas involved over the body or in the face. In non-grafting techniques, usually excision and closure is done when there are isolated patches involved. Thus, the patches should be small, especially over the lips. Coming to adjuvant therapies, this mainly involves the camouflage. This can be either permanent or temporary. Permanent camouflage is nothing but tattooing. This involves the deposition of an appropriate tattoo pigment matching the surrounding skin into the affected skin through specialized techniques. It cannot be washed off easily. However, it can fade over time and might require a retouch once in 2 to 5 years. This is usually done when there are patches which are not responding to any surgical modality, or when the patient has an urgent need for pigment correction during occasions, during wedding, something like that. Now coming to temporary camouflage, this involves the application of cosmetic dyes over the vitiligo patches to disguise or cover them. It's just like applying makeup. This is helpful for patients who want to continue the normal social activities without being self-conscious or stressing about the patches being visible to others. They can also use it on special occasions. There are many brands available like Cetone, Dermacolor, a Derma brand. But the patients have to be careful so that they don't come in contact with water, as the dyes can get washed away sometimes. Nowadays there are even waterproof dyes available. Till now I have been speaking about the common treatment options in vitiligo. Apart from these, there are newer techniques and other alternate techniques like fractional CO2, that is fractional carbon dioxide laser, followed by application of 5-fluorouracil, travoprost, dermabrasion, stem cell injections, growth factor injections, Jodhpur techniques, and many more. Even when there are extensive areas involved with just a few dark patches visible, the patient might feel it will be better when the dark patches are done away with. In such cases, we can use melanocytic agents like 4-methoxyphenol, or even Q-stitch Nd:YAG laser can be done to clear the dark patches. Coming to lifestyle modifications, firstly the diet. As such, no food is known to increase vitiligo. Continue to have a well-balanced diet and do not devoid yourself of any essential nutrients. Do consume foods rich in antioxidants like vitamin B12, folic acid, zinc, vitamin C and vitamin D, as these can decrease the autoimmune activity and help the disease. Compliance. Non-compliance to treatment is one of the major causes for treatment failure in vitiligo. Vitiligo can have a very varied and chronic course, especially when it involves large areas or when the resident patch is present. It is important that you do not stress about the disease, as increased stress can also increase the disease process, because increase in stress can increase the neuroendocrine hormones, which affects your immunity. Avoid all home remedies, as any injury to the skin can harm the existing melanocytes. Lastly, I hope this talk has given you some insight into the various treatment options available for vitiligo. Do not get depressed or psychologically affected by the disease, as it is just a change in skin color, which can be treated through a lot of therapies. So hope is always there. Seek early treatment and arrest the disease at an early stage. When you are suspecting any white patch, consult a qualified dermatologist who is the right person to diagnose it initially and then treat. For any further queries or guidance, do write in the comment section below or consult us at Cutis Hospital. Thank you.